Hi, I am Not Seamless, and this tutorial is the first out of 3 in which I will show you how I made all of these sounds you see here. In this tutorial, I will cover this first sound here. But first, this is what it sounds like. Alright, now, this sound begins its life as a Harmor, which sounds like so when all the post effects are disabled. Okay, now let's delve right into this Harmor, shall we? I am using the detune function here to actuate the res effect. Here I set the frequency value in according with the detune so that all the harmonics will stay in their relative position and only the fundamental will move. That way, the sound will mostly stay in tune and the res effect would still occur. I'm using a little bit of phase randomness on the running side. That means that the phases of the harmonics are randomized altogether as opposed to being randomized differently per harmonic, which is what turning the knob to the left would do. I am using the unison on the Hertz mode with 2 voices and with almost no panning. The unison shuts almost off, which gives the tiniest bit of movement to the sound. The unison harmonic pitch window is set as follows. Notice how the fundamental's unison pitch value is set rather high. The higher the pitch thickness value on the fundamental frequency, the faster the resing is, and vice versa. I'm also using a little bit of prism, which shuts off quickly. The harmonic prism window is set like so. Furthermore, the phaser is used here with the frequency mode engaged. The mix level is articulated to shut off pretty quickly. I've also altered the phaser shape like so. The phaser mask is set quite low to keep the effect of the phaser very subtle, as it can get quite hectic sometimes. The phaser width and offset values are altered via the unison index mapping to make the sound a bit more interesting. You might be wondering what is the purpose of the prism unison and the frequency phaser if they are shutting off that quickly. Well, the answer is that the phases of the individual harmonics are altered for the duration that these functions are active, and that is enough to get a different tone out of the sound. The tone that is created by these effects becomes much more notable when put under distortion, which comes later on. Lastly, the 500 Hz range is taken down a tad with the global EQ. Moving on to the FX tab, the sound is distorted using the logarithmic algorithm, and then it's going through reverb, chorus and lastly compression. Note that I moved the chorus after the reverb. And now to the mixer effects. First off, there is this phaser, which has its mix level automated. Notice that the number of stages is rather low. Likewise, this flanger also has its mix level automated. Following this, is a pre-distortion EQ which its purpose is to determine which frequencies go harder into the distortion and which do not. Next, there's this wave shaper which is used for slight saturation to beef up the sound a little. Then, there's this patcher which is used for my usual Neuro processing. In the first EQ here, I am automating a bandpass filter and 2 other notch filters. The automation of the bandpass determines more or less the rhythm of the sound, whilst the notches determine the color of the sound. Thereupon, the sound goes through this pre-distortion EQ, which mainly high passes the sub, which will be brought subsequently by this EQ, which isolates the sub-frequencies. Both signals are then sent into the distortion, which is propelled by this maximus. I am using this maximus to wave shape the lows, mids and highs differently. Note that all the time variables are turned off or almost off for maximus to wave shape the sound at the oscillation level, which gets us distortion. Then, the sound goes through this EQ, which is mainly there to cut off the messed up sub, which will be replaced by the clean sub later on. At last, both signals are compressed via a multiband compressor, which is there to glue the sound together. Welp, that is it for this sound. In the next 2 videos, I will cover the other 2 sounds right here, both of which are resampled versions of this sound. Make sure you check them out. I will put the links in the description. Alright, I have been not seamless. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and all that good stuff. And as always, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Well, check 'em out, yo.